What's up, guys? Coming at you from round 7 of Formula Drift. We are out here in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is slowly becoming one of my favorite tracks. We had a blast out here in practice. Um, this track is definitely the fastest one in the series. Not only the initiation speeds, but also like just carrying speed throughout the rest of the course. We're entering at like 100, a little over 100 miles an hour, and then carrying like 70. Probably it slowly diminishes throughout the course, but even in the last corner, we're doing 50 to 60 miles an hour. So it's a ton of fun. Even with 1,000 horsepower in these cars, we're holding them flat out around this track. It's comparable to, I think, driving like a 300 horsepower car in like third or fourth gear, where you just have to drive it super hard and super aggressive, and it really fits my style. It's a ton of fun. You can just go into the first corner and huck it in and rev it up and dump the clutch, and you can feel a front tire kind of come off the ground in the back end squat, and it just hooks up, and it's just a ton of fun. But yeah, practice went really good. I was working a little bit on my initiations. I was having trouble with them all weekend, and just getting the car to stay in drift all the way up until the first inner clip. And I think what I ended up doing was I just wasn't going fast enough. I just stayed flat out all the way on run up, and things were working out a lot better. This track you just got to go fast, and we really didn't have a whole lot of issues. We had the car set up pretty well right out of the gate. This track is kind of interesting because it's so fast and so grippy that you have to set the car up a little bit loose. But even though it's set up loose, it makes like more grip than anywhere else. It's pretty wild. So car was set up good. We had the correct wheel speed and everything from our data from last year. So there wasn't a whole lot of changes we had to make. Thursday we had qualifying. Had a decent run. Like I said, I was struggling on the initiation a lot. So coming into my first run, I threw it in, and then I didn't quite have enough speed. Going into the inner clip, I don't know if the track gripped up a bunch or what, but right when I threw it in, I knew that I wasn't going fast enough, or I had initiated too soon, and the back of the car wanted to grip up. So I really had to use way more handbrake than I should have, and had to kind of drag it out, and it made me kind of do a big bobble on the run up into inner clip 1. But I was able to hold it out and get around inner clip 1, and from there on out, the run was pretty decent. I was kind of midline in outer zone 2. Coming out of outer zone 2, I just held it wide open and did a big flick into the last zone. A little bit of handbrake, and it really tossed the back of the car around. Caught it and just held it wide open right on the edge of the track. It was pretty sweet. It put us in 24th place. But anyways, so top 32 came around, going up against Dean Kearney. I knew he was fast, and we were going to be chasing first. So we didn't really change anything with the car. I was comfortable with how it was driving. It made plenty of grip. So the guys said, he was super fast on run up. So I'm like, okay, I definitely can't let him leave me, because on a track like this, it's very hard to catch up. So down the run up, as we were in fourth gear, he kind of swerved over to the left to initiate, to kind of do like a manji entry. And then when he went left, I went right and kind of got over in the pocket on the opposite side of him. And then when he swung in, I initiated and kind of dove in right behind him, and it worked perfectly. I was able to just stay right on his door all the way up to inner clip number 1. I got on throttle at the same time as him. We pulled all the way through. You could tell Jared was just kind of waiting for the contact to happen. And then it didn't happen, and I just stayed glued to his door through inner clip 1. Came out to inner clip 2. I transitioned just a little bit too soon. It's super hard in that transition because you don't want to go too wide, because you'll end your run pretty quickly if you drop a tire in the dirt, especially in the chase position. Transitioned a little too early, and then it brought me inside on outer zone number 2, which kind of put me on a bad line. I was able to get back on throttle and push myself out and get back in the pocket. Just stayed wide open behind him going into outer zone 3. Transitioned, was able to stay right on his door going into inner clip 3, and then held it wide open. I kind of got stuck in his smoke trail, so he was a little bit shallow going into the zone, and I stayed deep, so that kind of put me like right in his smoke trail. So about basically from the start of the zone to about 3/4 of the way through it, I was totally blind behind him. Just kind of feeling the track. I couldn't tell exactly where I was, but I knew if I just stayed wide open, he would be, moving in front of me. So I knew that he wasn't gonna pull away if I just held it to the floor. And I could feel you know, in the rear tires, you could feel I wasn't going over the edge of the track. And there's kind of like a nice little groove in the track where you can set the car and just hang on to it. So I had a ton of fun doing it. So going into our lead run, I knew he had obviously a really good lead run in front of me, so I knew I had to do the same. Had a good initiation, had a little bit of a bobble. The car was kind of, because the speeds are so fast when you get on throttle, coming past inner clip number 1, the back of the car wants to hook up so much it starts to push the front just a little bit. Right when I got on throttle, I had to make a little correction in the front end, get back on throttle, hit inner clip 1 perfectly, hit outer zone 1 really good. Going into outer 2, I got into it really well, but then when I got on throttle, it kind of pulled my car forward out of the zone. So kind of mid-zone, I was out of the zone, and then I had to left foot brake a little bit, and then got back in the zone, coming out of it, right on the line. Stayed on the throttle good, got outer zone 3. Yeah, it was a really good battle. We really thought we got the win, but judges saw a couple of mistakes in my lead run, and you know, didn't judge my chase versus his chase, I guess, quite as good. So he ended up getting the win, which was kind of a bummer. We were driving really good all weekend, but yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. So we'll be back out driving hard in Irwindale in a couple weeks. So we'll see you then.